So, I finally got the chance to play Jedi Survivor. Now, obligatory, I actually played this in the summer of 2024, but nevertheless, after picking up Jedi Fallen Order again for that review, I figured it was only right to also give a consensus on Jedi Survivor. We once again want to answer, is Jedi Survivor worth it in the year 2025? Much like its predecessor, I proclaim yes it is. And like most sequels, Jedi Survivor attempts to build on the mechanics, gameplay, and progression from the original. And for the most part, I'd say it succeeds. So that's kind of what ties into my yes answer. But if you want to hear more, I'd recommend you keep watching. There are 5 stances to play with, a larger skill tree, and more options when it comes to tackling enemies. Especially paired with mods, like I did, you can have all 5 stances at once rather than the 2 that the game limits you to. Now, before getting into the combat, the customization, and the story, I want to talk about the elephant in the room, the PC optimization. This game had a fairly loud release where it was definitely very unoptimized and half-baked. There have been some improvements since release, but I still think a mod that helps with the optimization will only greatly increase and smooth your experience. However, if you're vehemently anti-modding for some reason, it may make you turn the other way around to this game. Moving back to our regularly scheduled program, if you like the combat from Fallen Order, it's safe to assume you'd like the combat from Jedi Survivor. It only builds upon the mechanics introduced and is a lot more freeing. The skill tree allows for a lot more choice-based progression, whether you want to stick to a couple stances or try them all and be a jack of all trades. Now, if you're curious, throughout my playthrough, I typically stuck to Crossguard and Single Blade, despite having a mod that gave me all 5 at once. And speaking of lightsabers, the customization for Cal, BD1, the Mantis, and the lightsabers are a lot more in depth. There's a ton of customization at your disposal to make your playthrough your own. But of course, you could just stick to the defaults and have the most lore-accurate experience. Additionally, there is more enemy diversity, building on the enemy selection from Fallen Order. The parkour has also had some touch-ups. With more mechanics and options, you can traverse the maps faster and do a lot more tricks. Now, some people hate the parkour force tears, but I actually really love them, even if they are quite challenging. With more complex parkour in combat, it's only natural as a result that the gameplay loop is less repetitive. And even if you are bored with the main story, there are a few involved side activities you can participate in that make the world, especially Koboh, feel more lively. Speaking of Koboh, Survivor also has more planets than Fallen Order, but for me this is actually seen as a downgrade. While there are more planets, they feel less developed than they did in Fallen Order. I'd rather have more planets like Koboh that are involved than planets you only go to once or twice and follow a fairly linear path. The story is solid and has good twists, but I will admit I'm a bigger fan of Fallen Order story. It's a lot more personal than the gravitas that seems to shelter in Survivor story. But I will say I was still engaged and enjoyed it, especially for how unique it was. Trying to be light on spoilers, but there is an aspect of the High Republic in the main story, which to me as a non-comic reader, it's a pretty underrepresented era in the Star Wars universe. In conclusion, I think Survivor is a great follow-up to Fallen Order. It takes mechanics of the first and builds on and improves them. And it gives you a lot more personalized experience as a Jedi. Even though I like Fallen Order's story more, Survivor does follow an engaging plot, developing the relationships between characters and provides a deeper characterization of our Mantis crew from Fallen Order. While I wouldn't recommend it at full price, there aren't a lot of games I'd recommend at full price, I definitely advise picking it up when it's on sale.